Hey, everybody. All right. Let's get started. All right. How's everybody doing? Waiting for people to jump in. All right. Let me get set up here a bit. Finally. I don't know. I don't know about finally, but we'll get some things open here. So last time we were working on the storage stuff, and we will continue to work on storage stuff until it is done. My week was crazy, didn't get almost any time to mess with this. I got a lot of time to think about it though. I was doing a bunch of manual labor around the house, so it gave me time to think about stuff. All right. Right, let's... Thank you, Cthulhu Lover. I appreciate it. Let's see. All right. Let's start by share my screen. All right. So back to where we were at. Oh man, my text size is getting even bigger. Oh no, I'm getting old. My text size is at 130%. It's not just for stream. I've been leaving it on. That's a problem. So yeah, we were working on storage. We're going to continue to work on storage. So where we left it was we'd implemented this concept of enumerating the content, which returns the fixed array of data for it to convert. Since you shouldn't call this a second time, it's fine for it to be shared. There shouldn't be two threads trying to update at the same time or anything like that. That would be unsupported. This is a very simple way, and like the native code, the native code would own this data. So we're just making copies. Then platform commit, we were in the middle of writing this, which would be the part that, I guess that was the part that we needed to figure out the better way to do commits. So that's kind of where we're leaving that, because what we currently have there doesn't make good sense. Let's see. Windows has some atomic file write stuff, but we can't really depend on that. There's probably not a... here's some cross-platform library, which we don't want to use. That just ensures a write occurs atomically. That's not really... Ugh. Very simple library. Create a temporary file, write all data, temporary file, flush changes to disk, rename the temporary file, plus changes to directory entry to disk. Not necessarily. Yeah, I don't know if I like that at all. I kind of look like Richard Stallman. That's familiar. That's a Unix guy, I think, right? I don't know. I don't really see it. Sorry. He's 73. What the fuck? I'm not 73. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. There's not... I mean, the truth is the one way to do it, and it's the same way that some console platforms do it, is they maintain two areas. They maintain an area that is the temporary area where stuff is initially written, and then you maintain the separate area, which is the actual save data area. So that's probably the best way for stuff like this to work, is to do it as an operation that can be atomic, or atomic-ish, I guess. They kind of have to be in the same place for it to work, right? Because I don't like this code being... I mean, I guess I don't like this having a bunch of code in here, because it means that... I mean, I guess how we left it... I mean, it could work. The storage system could define what that is, and commit could be the one that does the actual final operation. Because this could still work. And when storage opens the container, which happens somewhere else, it could prepare the... What's a good name for it? The temporary area before committing. I mean, I hate the word temporary. I have to come up with something else. But all this work, directing storage, deleting directories, creating directories, deleting files, creating files, that could all happen to the temporary area, and then until commit is called, things don't get swapped out. And the swap should be like a directory rename, basically. That's how that should work. So yeah, I think there was like a definition of how... where was that? Was it there? It was just in storage. Ours Turtle, we got Cornflower Blue in the browser. Awesome. So progress on a web backend for MonoGame is going. That's awesome. So yeah, I think this is... Of course, it's content not found. I need to find where I had those docs, because I had... hate it when websites change stuff. I can't find things. There it is. That's what I was looking for. I think it's technically this one, but I think this one defines. I don't think that we have to be. None of this has to be compatible with XNA's behavior, but I wanted to kind of look at it a little bit before we did it. I didn't see an email. Whatever you did, I didn't see it. Yeah, you got to be careful when you cut and paste. You never know when you get the wrong thing. Okay, so this is actually from the official docs. So this is interesting. So on 360, how they had it was you had to call dispose on the container for it to commit. There wasn't a separate commit. It's like until you dispose it, it's not cleaned up, which is kind of a real hidden kind of API. Yeah, definitely paste your GitLab token. On Windows, yeah, so this is basically what they do on Windows, which is a all players folder, then one per player. You know, Steam doesn't even really do this, right? Like Steam doesn't have a concept of multiple. I mean, you'd log in with a different Steam ID if you wanted to store something for a different user. That's how you would do it. But it does bring up the question, like, how would this work with Steam? How would the storage system work with Steam? I mean, it would be up to, yeah. So the idea here would be that title name would be the, you know, like by this, my documents, save games folder, we could still go with that plan. It's very XNA friendly. I guess that's what most devs or most games do nowadays. I'm checking just. I always thought that was like kind of a arbitrary thing MonoGame was doing, but I guess it was like part of the official implementation back in the day. Yep. Hey, look, I have a save games folder with Axiom Verge 2 in it. That's funny. So he used that system in Axiom Verge 2. And I put it right exactly there. I mean,
frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I mean, this is an opportunity for. I mean, we could keep some of this, and title could literally end up being this, right? I think this is the part that might be different per platform. Like on a Windows desktop, no Xbox, no Steam, no anything. Sure, it could be player one. But I think what it should be in the case of Steam or Xbox or something else, not Xbox, but in cases where you have a user identifier, this should probably be the user identifier, not a player one, player two. The structure is kind of curious though. It's like save games, so this is what X and A does, and then the name of the title, then a separate folder called saves. Yeah, I wonder where this saves folder comes from. Oh, saves must be the container name, huh? Yeah, that's what it is. It's probably some old behavior that we had. Yeah. Just so we know what it is. Yeah, there are choices to be made here, but let's not worry about that too much at the moment. Let's focus on the necessity here, which is storage device getting past the title name. I think that makes sense. Platform initialize is past the title name, so this will open the right thing. So this under the hood will open up that folder. Whether we do save games this or not, I can start by doing this and then we can work from there. The saves folder is the thing that gets me. Like, where does that come from? That's the part I'm not sure where that came from. Anyways, let's go with that. Let's start to actually implement some stuff in the native code just because I feel like we want to, needing to. These are all off now, I think. Virtual device. Yeah, I don't think any of that stuff is in here. Yeah, all this stuff is going to have to be cleaned up. Yeah, this is not going to work very well if we don't. By having, using if you like, there are cases that you need to consider, like, let's say you have, let's see, like in this case, there's Axiom Verge 1 and Axiom Verge 2. having a concept of being able to open the storage for a previous save for a previous game, you know, to read the save data from a previous game for, like, I don't know, sometimes people add, you know, improvements based upon if you played the first game to completion, then maybe you start out with something better in version 2. So you need to be able to read the other storage save data. So this isn't a bad thing for it to work this way, so that you can create a second device that accesses other storage, and that should be valid. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Can't do it that way. It's handle, isn't it? But handle is storage device, so it should be fine. I guess we have an open device. So we haven't rebuilt it yet. Let's rebuild that first. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty common thing. Let's fix this first. What am I missing here? I just need to run this. Just build once here. We'll update my C# code, which I think will compile. Yeah, so the native code that didn't compile. I'm going to run the generator once. It's going to crash because there's something going on with something, you know, when it tries to generate the types for, specifically when it's trying to generate the types for the pipeline, it does something weird. I haven't figured out what it was yet, but I will at some point. Then these should now be up to date. Open device. It's so weird. It gets like all screwed up. It's like it doesn't understand colors. Like it stops understanding its colors. It's like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. It gets drunk with color. So weird. If I do it again. Yeah, there it goes. Now it gets better. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is where it needs to create a storage container, storage device. I'm going to do more than this. I need to kind of build it. It's going to go simple this time, and we'll figure out from here. I hate using Goopsie Daisy. Hey, Goopsie Daisy. I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome to the stream. I fell absolutely in love with C# and MonoGame. It's hilarious looking back 6 to 12 months. messing around with Pygame and then slowly understanding how it all works. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you. We're trying. You know, it can be difficult at times. We're trying. I need to learn the more responsible, clean way of creating, setting these things up. There's got to be a nicer way to do this. I'm sure there is some wacky standard template library way. I just never, the string class is just such a pain in the ass. Okay, just fixing this so it works the way it wants to, or matches the header at least. That takes a container as well. Yes. I think file save just takes a container, so the container needs to know its root. I don't know what the name is useful for. I think I might not need it once I have the root in there for that. Basically, I want to do something similar here, but we're going to take device root. We're going to know it ends in a slash. We're going to add in the container name and add a slash. So in theory, that's all it needs. We'll see. I'm going to put it in here rough first, then worry about getting more detail as I go here. Oh, this is that. I'd already started working with CarePath. I feel more comfortable using C-string stuff than standard library stuff. We'll get there. Yeah, this is rebuilding it every time, and it doesn't need to do that. Well, I guess it does, because it's creating directories and stuff. So that it does need to do. It doesn't need to do that, because there's already a slash on that path. Same here.
Frankly, my dear, I don't get
It doesn't need to do that at all. That's already in there. I think name can be relative, so it could have paths within it, I think. So we'll need to think about that a little bit more, I think. We'll see. All right, just want to get this to compile so I can actually start running stuff and then start to work out issues. All right, looks like it's starting to build, so. Sure, let's start with this test. Why can't I? Why does it say debug tests? I don't like that at all. In there. Okay, that's weird. Oh, it's called source device test, that's why. That would do it. Finally getting to the point that I can run something. Man, I'm running DX12, but it doesn't really matter which one I run. Okay, get a title name. So this is going to app data local. That's probably not what we want to follow the standard. There's a question there of where it should go. Maybe that's something that eventually we can have storage device, let you define. Is it, and should it be in the more modern place or should it be in my documents? That's a big up in the air question. I think we can call. What's the right thing? No. No. Guess there's some secret stuff in there I should be showing, huh? Nothing too secret. It's not home path. Oh, this is creepy. I asked Google how to find it, trying to get some searches. Of course, the AI responds, but it starts talking about save data. Is Google listening to me? I didn't ask it about save data. I asked it just where to get the documents folder in Windows. Huh. Interesting. Wonder if it's using its knowledge in my searches to take a guess at what my AI responses should be. That's kind of wild. Yeah, I guess I have to do it this way. I basically need to I guess I already had this. Yeah, I was already heading down this way for other stuff, I guess. But it's this function. And then what's our ID? Okay, so return a wide string. Is there a non-wide string version? Sometimes there's an A version. Yeah, there isn't. To handle the wide string conversion, which is a pain in the ass. I don't want a wide string, don't need a wide string. Oh, annoying. All right, so what's the rest of my arguments? I need flags. And let's just name it what it is. Need an address to it. I'm looking at the docs over here just to understand what I need. I guess it does return in each result. See how like this is much more attractive. A single line. It's both succeeded. Down here. So it can fail if it, for whatever reason, cannot find the My Documents folder, which is probably fine. Then I need to convert this to a UTF string. Actually, maybe it's, well, yeah, no, it's better. Let's have it. Make it like that. So somebody has to fill this in with root. I think this is smart enough that if we do this, that it will convert for me, but I don't remember. No, it won't. Conversion for standard string for that. Oh God. Oh. Standard W string convert was depreciated. Well, that's fucking annoying. Okay. Oh, C++, so annoying. We want a UTF-8 version. That is the white. That's what I'll do. Right directly to that. Always try to stick to writing, using Windows standards when I'm calling Windows stuff, and using C++ general standards when I'm doing stuff like that. This should convert it properly, using UTF-8 if I need to, which will work fine on Windows. So this should work properly, I think. So let's find out. Oh shit, I didn't mean to hit F5. Wish F5 just... I wish I could just set, like, hey, run this test by default all the time, and hit F5 and it just does it. Fortunately, it doesn't work that way. A lot of fucking warnings and cleanup that needs to happen in this stuff. Okay, so it got it. Converts to wide characters. There we go. I have a root. Now, I do wonder whether I need to go ahead and fix this to not be... From my experience so far, // work on every platform. Some platforms will not accept backslashes. So I wonder if we should standardize to have this thing always working, with // on all platforms, just to make it work well. Probably wouldn't be a bad thing. Did the right thing, so that's good.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Let's have it consistent across platforms. I guess string replace might be the best way to do it. I'll just do that. Oh, standard replace. Does that return it? No, it modifies it in place. I'm going to just do this here. We should probably make a helper for safe probably make a helper for things like directory creation. Let's create directory 2. I don't like that. Let's stick with create directory A. Do I need security attributes? I don't think I do. I'm not going to make this work recursively because that's going to be a huge pain in the ass. That's another question whether damn it, I hit F5 again. I gotta stop doing that. Oh, I didn't put it in a save games folder. Here it is. Okay, let's stick to that standard for now. We're going to do that. I mean, this starts to get into like things that are very specific to a platform. Let's do this. Yeah. I'm just going to focus on this for now. We'll worry about Mac, Linux, other things later. You can't recursively create it. We're making the assumption that the documents folder is created. This is not dealing with failures there. Be really weird for that not to exist, but something we have to probably diagnose or to identify if it happens. Want this to be robust, we're going to have to take the extra mile here. That shouldn't have created anything because it already exists. What's the restream window? Come on. Let's save games. It didn't seem to create it. That's interesting. Oh, duh. Saved games versus saved games. It's saved games. Damn it. And this is still up for debate, like whether this makes sense for us or not. I just wanted to get something moving here. Okay, so that all works. Turns a device. I don't know what's going to do next. Let's find out. One container. Okay, this needs to create the container folder. I mean, there's a question here as of it says look for the container first that I had there. I mean, it doesn't need to. I don't know what I meant by that. By look for a container. I mean, I guess I made the assumption this would like load the container into memory, but it's not going to do that. You want commit to still be the thing. Like this will open it, but it doesn't. Nothing possibly exists there yet, which I think we want to maintain that so that until someone actually calls save, it doesn't actually create the space. I think that's probably a good thing that it doesn't create it, until you actually commit. I think. Yeah, there's a question whether that's good or not. It's not doing the required free bytes stuff yet. I need to have it do that. Set breakpoints on all these so I can tell if somebody's calling any of them. Okay, so this failed somehow. Let's find out why that failed. Come on. Oh, I think I never implemented this. Yeah, that's why. See, all this stuff is happening after it creates the container. That's kind of weird. I guess the idea is like, well, yeah, I don't like that at all. Plus this, you know, happening here, this shouldn't have to do that here. So we're going to end up with like file path operations in the native code and the C# code, which is going to happen because we have to kind of balance how much work is done on each side. The native code is going to be where the desktop implementations are, where the code for where the desktop implementations are, where the implementations are for console, but the implementations for mobile are still going to be at the C# side, and maybe an implementation for OLGL. Maybe, I'm not sure if we'll support it or not on the old systems. It could be that we just might not support it. That we might support it on the new platforms and not on the old ones, just to move shit forward. We'll see. Yeah, if we're going to do this, it needs to happen here.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I mean, the idea here is that we want to make sure that the names that are being passed in here are valid for on all platforms. So we'd have kind of a very strict test. You know, it should be basically ASCII. If you start giving it names that don't make sense for that, I think that's a problem. Yeah. Problem is it shouldn't be a per platform thing. It needs to be, it just needs to be set as a rule across platforms, right? Because if not, you'll have one platform and be called one thing and another platform be called something else. The question is, what does sanitize even do? You know, should sanitize? Mimi Jack, hey, hello, Mimi Jack. Okay, how you doing? Yeah, this might be something that needs to be handled at a higher level. What's up? So let's do this. I'm not gonna do this right now. This should probably be handled higher up. Specifically here, should be a requirement here. Validate container name. I think that's what we just have to do, is we have to enforce some rules to title name and container name. What am I working on? I'm working on a new storage API for MonoGame because we need one badly that's cross-platform. So we're kind of deriving it from the old XNA storage device API, but trying to modernize it some to make it a little bit better. That's basically what I'm doing. This is actually, wait, what? Oh, I see what it's doing. The reason it does this, I was like, well, why is it doing that? That's kind of weird. There was an old rule that was in there. It's basically you can only have one storage container open at a time, which is not a bad rule. So I think that's what I was trying to do, use this to enforce it, but that's not going to enforce it very well. Let's not do that. That's better. I think that limitation is reasonable, but I want to be sure. Come on, thing. What's the vibe for it? No, I don't know. The vibe is that it should work. That's the vibe, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by what's the vibe. It's not a feeling, right? It's a container. It should work. That's the vibe, right? That it's stable, that it works all the time, that you don't need to worry about it. I think that's what the vibe we'd be aiming at, is something that, just functions the way you expect it to. Otherwise, you have chaos. Okay, so that worked. Return container. All these tests should be fine. Okay, this should work. Does that make sense? You never tell until I put some commas in place. Megabytes. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think that's right for my disk size, right? For my C drive? Yeah, that's right for my C drive. It's about 1 gig. Free space will be the interesting one. Let's see if that matches. Yeah, it does match. Good. Yep, that's what I got. I got, like, Windows says 31 gigabytes free of my C drive, but that's right in bytes. So okay, so that works properly. So that's good. Notice how it never closed the container. That's probably a violation. That means the data in here is not cleaned up. Let's take advantage of this and see if we get some cleanup here. Like, storage device isn't being cleaned up. That's a problem. What kind of game are you building with MonoGame? What storage container implementation for? So that's like back-end stuff. I'm not building a particular game at the moment. This is more for, I'm one of the maintainers of MonoGame, so we're writing this to support it for other people's games. The storage containers implementation is for save data, basically. Basically just for save games. So the design has to work both on Windows and Mac and Linux and iOS and Android and PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch 2, and Xbox Series S. So it has to work for everything. That's the trick. It also should work for Steam. So your Steam saves should work properly, It should also work. Like at some point, maybe having a version that works with Steam Cloud wouldn't be bad. So we have to consider a lot of possibilities with all this. That's the complexity of this. Too many things to fit in one head. So this is going to screw up here because it's going to basically leak this. It never gets cleaned up, ever. You didn't call dispose, so it never gets cleaned up. There's a question of whether we should do something about that. Probably should, is force it to do some cleanup. So yeah, let's fix that while we're thinking about it. Doesn't really make sense, but storage device could be freed separately from container, because they're technically disconnected once they're created. Let's say Steam save. Well, I don't. It's like saves within Steam. Steamworks has their own APIs for some of that. You can just save using any method you want, and in Steam you can tell it. The Steam backend, you can tell it like, hey, my game saves data to this folder, and then Steam will automatically, restore and back up that folder automatically to the cloud system. But you can also directly call their cloud APIs, which might be something that might be a little nicer. I don't know. Maybe it's unnecessary complication. So that's what I mean by the saves that support Steam. So yeah, we need to have a couple things. One, this has to have some cleanup even if you don't do it. And weren't these supposed to dispose? I mean, it's the same thing with Mac and Linux. It's like the standard is put things wherever you feel like it kind of thing. There's kind of a rough, concept that it should go into my documents or into local app data, or your home directory on Linux. Mac, I don't know where that is supposed to be, but yeah, it's basically the Wild West. So you kind of figure out a standard. We're going to kind of go with the old XNA standard of my documents, but we could decide to change that, I guess, if we feel like it's not working very well or if it's not very modern. We might make it an option that you can define where you want the root to be. That's a whole other problem to deal with. Not going to worry about that right now. What I do need to worry about is this, and should this be, or should this be, there we go. Okay, it had a finalizer. Yes, the finalizer suggests that it has a destructor that it has a disposable. It's disposable, right? Interesting. Storage device isn't disposable, but that storage container is. Because can you have a finalizer without a... I don't know if that's... if you can or you can't. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I figured. They should be calling dispose on it. I'm going to do it. Because that's probably better for us in the long run anyways. Because storage might have its own data that it needs to free or deal with. How do you do that? I forget. I forgot completely how to use suppress the finalizer. Nope, wrong thing. GC suppress finalize.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I always forget what the purpose of this structure is. Without I don't know if I described that well, but I want to be clear that that's not what it doesn't do anything there. It's a lot of structure. I mean, that's not even required by disposable. It's just something that was in there. Yeah, I hate all that stuff. It just seems like unnecessarily complex. It's like a lot of words to describe that it's, set if it's disposed. This overloaded dispose seems dumb to me. I'm not going to do that. Where is that? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Steam save is an expression. I just mean a save occurring when you're on Steam. When your game is running on Steam. It's not necessarily a thing. It's just two words. A save on Steam. Steam save. Right, so let's verify this works. Oh, I need to fix the other one too. If it hadn't. Okay. Guess that's probably not a bad idea as well. Something crapped out. That looks like it leaks those specific things. Does the test not run finalizers or anything? I would have thought the test runs finalizers and stuff. Maybe it does, it just doesn't give me an opportunity to do anything about it. This makes me think like these leaks are specifically those objects that are not getting freed, but oh, wait a second. I don't know what's calling closed device. Wait, somebody is calling closed device. What's going on here? Okay, now it says one reference. Weird. This is also not implemented. And that probably won't change the behavior because it looks like it's not calling at all. There's also enumerate content that's not implemented yet. Really, there's nothing to do here but to free the device. It's not going to hold on to memory or do anything. We can just make it safe just in case. No reason to do anything fancier than this. I might have crashed out trying to clean up. This is calling it, but there's no implementation. Not. I'm just going to first make sure that these work, but I wanted to test that it actually the finalizers work, but maybe I can't test that. Maybe. I never shut down Discord. I'm surprised that hasn't been chirping. Okay, so it looks like it's doing what it's supposed to do. There's no data for container to hold on to yet. Let's see if it still gives us this leak stuff at the end. No, it doesn't. So it was leaking those. It's kind of weird. I would think that it would have cleaned that stuff up. See, all these tests have to be fixed because they're all making the assumption that there's no commit. So they're all going to fail, which is good. I want them to fail. This one should pass because, I mean, it's a question, right? If you call create directory, then you call get directory names, should it return what's on disk or should it return what's in memory? Probably what's in memory. You not committing it does not mean that it doesn't exist as far as the thing in memory exists, I think. I think that's what it should probably do. Like, none of these are committing anything. I mean, that's maybe okay. Test for committing things should be very specific, so maybe that's okay. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, let's let it go wild. See what happens. So just say, fuck it, run all of them. Let's see what happens. We have a bunch of tests, we have a bunch of code. Let's see what fails. That'll tell us, at least give us some progress on where we're at. Hey, look, immediately wrong. Oh yeah, that's missing, so that won't work. See how many actually passed. Come on, thing. Update. Thinking. I think some of these will actually work. Update cache didn't work, so that, I mean, I guess they're all going to fail because they all, like, they're checking for them on disk, right? Which it should be doing. Okay, so enumerate content needs to be in there. So let's get that done. I'm gonna have that in the header. Or close container. I like to try to keep these in kind of order that they were declared. Okay, so I debate back and forth if it should be an error to pass a null container or should it try to return something that's valid. You know, every once in a while I kind of want to pull out this old book. Where is it? This classic writing solid code. That is a old book, Microsoft Press book from back in the day. When was it from? This is 90s, right? '93. Every once in a while I go back and read this because it kind of reminds you of things that you've lost in the meantime. You know, they have a lot of anecdotes about, you know, writing the original versions of Microsoft Word and things like that, and the issues they ran into, and just their philosophy of how they approach, you know, writing code, which I think, you know, Microsoft's moved away from since. but there's some good lessons in there, and I've used that in the past. It reminds me just to think about it like, should this be an error or not? The API should really define whether this should be an error or not. Is this something that fails that, hey, something's really wrong, or is it okay to have a soft return here? Soft returns can kind of hide bugs, so that's the reason why it's concerning. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it should be or shouldn't be. That's why I need to go back and read that chapter. Anyways, so what this is going to do is it's going to enumerate the container and return everything that's there. So we need to do a find in files, I guess is what it is. Let's start. I think it's the find the files API. Yeah, find first element, find second element, right. Yeah. So it is, I'm going to stick with the A's because that's all I need. This is where it gets into more Win32 specific stuff. Each platform has to kind of do their own thing. Wait, how do you do recursive? Oh. I don't think find first. I don't think it's recursive. I think this is. Oh no, I have to manually recurse. Right. This is where I kind of need a helper. Yeah, it needs to gather stuff and it needs a helper. So. Yeah. I need to think about how I'm going to implement. Wait, why is that 3? That doesn't seem right. I think it's translated incorrectly. Oh, because init is treated as a pointer type. Yeah, this is probably written wrong, but we'll get there. We'll get there. One concern at a time. Let's put this in the container so that the container can live with this stuff and it can exist. Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. It's going to first gather them, and then after it gathers them, it's going to do the rest. So. needs to get passed in a, because finding files just needs a path, so just needs the directory. Yeah. This guy's gonna go up here. Is that? Yeah. I'm going to assume the directory immediate path has a separator at the moment, but we'll figure out if it doesn't later. I need find edit w, find data. And then it's going to return handle. Oh, what does it want? Oh, data A. What is it? Invalid. Can't open the folder, it's invalid. Otherwise, we need to enumerate. So let's see. Let's see. Let me kill Discord before it gets crazy. Goodbye, Discord. I mean it, Discord, go away. There we go. There it goes. All right. So, sure. And what is it? Okay, so this is standard stuff. Yeah. We ignore these. There's a bug in that. That's not correct. Oh no, I need to do find next. That's what I need to do. I need to do it in iteration. Just need to find next file return. I think it returns true or false, but I need to double check. Returns true or false. That's not going to work. It needs to be in here. It does it on increment. It'll return true until it returns false. Once it returns false, it is no more. I think it returns non-zero. If the function fails, the return value is 0 and the contents of terminate. Well, it returns true, we're good. But it's going to execute this on the first one. It needs to be a do. And I need to close it at the end. So this is safe to continue because it's going to call the while. Wait, will it? Yeah. Oh. Then I guess I need to see. All right, if found attributes. And what is the thing? It is this directory. We're going to recurse. We need to pass in the path to the things. We need a full path. Why did we do that? I don't think you return null there. Oh, well, it can be that, so it's be better to do it this way. It's safer anyways. Full path is going to be the target directory. Which I think will have a slash in it, but we'll find out. Let's change this to name. Because it's a file or a folder. It's not necessarily one or the other. And the full path we pass in here. Before we do that, if it's a directory, we need to add it in. So we need to yeah. So we need to do a container. Wait, we need to add a trailing slash in here. If it is, because that's our standard slash. And change this to content. Okay, we have that folder, by the way. Actually, maybe it should return, just in case, maybe this should return bool. I'm suspicious of this, but we'll find out. I think that's right. And I want to Continue here. Damn it. Otherwise, I'm going to just add it in as a regular file. I think that'll do it. I'll recursively create everything, I think. It doesn't solve my next problem, which is I need to return it. Yeah, so the next step here is, okay, so we have the size, we know what that is. So we can return that now. It's going to be container content size. But we need to return these back up. So we need some temporary memory to store this stuff in. It's going to be that, really. Pointer to an array of pointers. Where does this come from? That might be why I'm confused here. Huh? Oh, annoying. I need to go deal with that at some point. I'm going to have to temporarily deal with that. I don't want to deal with the actual problem, which is this got broken upstream. See, I think it's actually fixed upstream. I need to merge it. So yeah, all right. So this will be the next thing I need to deal with. So this needs some temporary memory to return this in. Unless it's going to allocate all these things manually, it's going to have to store it somewhere. Hate this, but that's what I'm going to call it. Null this out. Somebody else with it. What does it not like about that? I guess it doesn't like the size missing. I hope. That's all like. It's going to own it. And then we should be using this container from a different thread, so it should be fine. I think that's all it needs to be. I don't need to rebuild this, I just need to clean that up. Okay, I think that's going to do it. Let's make sure it builds, and then I'll run the test again and see. No AI viewers, go back to hell. Steam Cloud has allows you to put a 100 gigabyte limit. That's wild. Not a super exciting stream. That's okay. Okay, I'm gonna run this test now that failed before. Should properly enumerate, at least. And that's a big step. Oh, wait, what? Am I doing that wrong? Yeah, maybe I'm doing that wrong. Let's see if this was a constant character pointer. Yeah, I think I see what the issue is. I think. It's assuming it's going to return a pointer to this. Oh, well, that's why. Duh. Yeah, I can't assign it to. Do that. That's allowed. And that's what I need to do. Oh, I can't cast that? What do you mean I can't cast that? Duh, I'm going to cast it. Yeah, Steam probably doesn't have a hard limit. They probably just, message the dev if they do something abusive and say, hey, we're going to take your game down, fix this. Okay, container clear. I'll set a breakpoint in. Sometimes when I'm coding, I'll set a breakpoint in paths I didn't take so that eventually I notice when it gets called so I can identify if the code is working as expected. All right, so our path is, oh, we got a double slash here. That's something we need to resolve. Because this already has a slash. Okay, this assumes the directory doesn't have a slash, and it does, so I need to stop doing that. Don't need to do that. Actually, that's the problem. I actually think I need to put a wildcard there. Is that true? I think I need a wildcard there. Yeah, I do need a wildcard. Come on, thing. Why is it locked up? There we go. Much better. Handle is not valid. Well, because there's nothing in there. Save one has nothing in it. It doesn't exist. But that's good. You know, in fact, I guess this is an okay way to find out it doesn't exist. So let's say 0 size. I'm going to allocate an array of 0 size. I'm going to return an array of 0 size, which is perfectly fine. This thing's going to say the count is 0, and it's going to say there's nothing there, which is fine. So this is now creating, it updated the cache, there's nothing there. It's now creating a directory in here saying, hey, it's dirty, cache path this. Directory exists, and I guess this is where it has to, it's also forcing things to lowercase at this level. I guess I should, it's okay, Windows will handle this fine. I'm missing something there, huh? Need to delete that sucker. Okay, but other than that,
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
okay, good. Okay, progress. I should put some junk in there to simulate this, huh? I'm just gonna copy the saves out of Axiom Verge over. Just a test. I think that's what it was called. Just test if enumeration is working. In fact, let's make the test a little bit more interesting. I mean, most people won't abuse things. I will say that once in the past, one of the games we ported, Sony asked us to fix it because it was storing. It ended up like dumping 300 megabyte files into save data, which broke when Sony released. When Sony first released cloud storage on PS4, which is a long time ago. This is like 2015, 2016, something like that. One of the games we had ported was saving these huge 300 megabyte save files, and it was starting to crash Sony's network. They weren't prepared for giant save files to be cloud backed up like that, and it was a problem. Now that's not a big save file for 2014, maybe it was, but it's not anymore, I guess. But it was then. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I'm running out of time for the day, but I wanted to get a couple more things fixed up here. I don't like this. I wish I had something to delete more automatically or something. I guess I could do this, duh. Like, why did I do? This is better, right? That's so much better. What was it? Right there. this much cleaner. A bunch of dumb bullshit. I don't know why I was thinking that I had to do it with menu allocations. That's stupid. I'll size it because it'll be better. That's not reserved. Resize. So that'll be better. Let's do that. It does the same thing. And I don't have to free anything. Okay, so I found a file. Let's dot. Found the next file, which is dot dot. Just a Windows thing. See, it's one folder. Is it a folder? Yes. Attach a slash to the end of it. Push it back into the content so that it's stored. Here's our path. Well, that's another thing that's happening. This thing needs to trim out the full path before it returns it, because it shouldn't have some of this stuff. I'll need to fix that at some point. Yeah. Actually, it should be relative to save one, right? It should be relative to that. I'll need to fix that because that's what it's expecting. I think up here and up there. Not there either. No, it's in here. Yeah, it's assuming that this is relative to the container, because that's what everything in here is relative to the container. So it needs to not have that on the root. I mean, here it needs the full path. Here it does not. So here I just need the relative pathing. So I can do the lazy thing, I guess, is to remove it by the root itself, right? Like I have the container, I need to remove this part of it. Yeah. Guess it doesn't need full path after this. Yeah, let's clean this up real quick. Oof, suddenly got hot in here. Got hot or I'm sweating, one of the two. I'm having a hot flash, I think, guys. Let's see. Does that actually work? Okay, I'll take it. If that works, that'll be awesome. Come on. I guess I can do this ahead of time, huh? No, I can't do it ahead of time. I need to do it there. I'm gonna get this stupid bullshit. No, I guess it doesn't care about this. I think that's gonna work. Could have done this before I had it before, but whatever. Let's see. Yeah, that looks right. I probably want the folder first so that I get the right behavior, I think. And this looks like it's working. It's doesn't. I don't like that it recurses, that it'll it works via the stack. Okay, so you should have everything in there. The folders, the files. So yeah, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's going to build this thing, which is just our results that are just our pointers. I guess it could build this pointers tree at the same time, but it doesn't seem necessary to do that. It's easier to just do it at the end, I guess. The question is this going to work? So now it has this. Well, that's a problem. That did not work. Why didn't that work? It's because, why didn't that work? Can I not assign it? Sure, I did assign it. Wait, why didn't that work? Let's just make it easier. I don't know why my brain's not digesting the right way to do this. So it should be this. That is the right thing. Array of byte arrays. And I need to return a reference. So I'm just going to do, well, it's not like that. No. Let's do it that way. That should convert properly. Do that. I think that will work. That'll work better. Let's see what the interop builds. Just I want to see what it does. Come on, thing. I want to run the generator. It's going to crash. Come on, crash. Come on, crash. Come on, crash. There it is. I don't know why it took so long to crash, but so it should have fixed my header. Broke some other things though. Unfortunately, every time I run that, it's going to break that stupid count thing. Should go fix that. No, it's interop. Not good there. Whatever. MG byte reference. Sure, that works. That should work. So to get this one working, then everything is going to flow pretty quick from there. I need to get at least Windows working, and I should probably sketch out at least one of the console platforms, which I'll have to do off stream, unfortunately. I didn't flip that thing around. I'll do it in a moment. Hey, look at the result. Hey, look, there's my path.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
There's a whole thing here that, you know, maybe I should lower all this stuff before it comes in, which I probably should. Like, that might just be, we just need to enforce that across the board. As shitty as it feels for it not to work the way, for it not to handle that correctly, or to not, you know, not have a file that's on disk exactly match what's in memory and not have those differences. The casing issue is just something that will cause problems for no possible reason, for no good reason, and will be the thing that trips up every time. Because everybody works off of Windows, or like the vast majority of people are building Windows games with a little bit of Mac and Linux, and Mac and Linux people will pay attention to the file paths and pay attention about capitalization generally, but Windows users won't, and you'll have problems. So now it'll clean up everything here properly. All right, I think that's working. So that's a starting point. I'm gonna have it try to run all these tests and see what happens, but it's gonna blow up because it's not gonna be able to commit anything. So I won't be able to run the commit test. Commit will fail. I just want to see what it does. I'm gonna end the test with at least something kind of sort of working. Where's that guy? This ended up being easier to deal with than I expected. All right, so all these tests should run, in theory. I think all of them should run. Nope, some of them fail, but that's good. Yeah, probably not. No, this one's not going to work because it's supposed to persist contents and it doesn't. Because currently it's, wait, why is that persistent contents? Let's see why this one fails. It should just be in memory. It's not even on disk. It's not been committed. So as soon as you create file, it's caching. Turns a memory stream. It writes to it, which it should have. File exists is true. Aha, this is what fails. Why is it failing that? Didn't find the blob. Blob has no content. I think it closed the stream. Yeah, that was something I needed. I was worried about that. It's been disposed, right? So this is where I need to implement my own stream type. I can't just return a memory stream because I have to ignore the close or the dispose and not actually destroy my data. I need to keep the data around. So that's where I need to return a custom writer. We already kind of do this somewhere, like we do this here. I don't remember why we wrote this originally. I think it might have been for the idea of thinking ahead for other platforms. It was actually, I guess, to implement the native platform. Like we need a way to access files on disk, and we didn't want to have we don't want to have the C# code understand how to get to a file on disk on different platforms. So we implemented this asset class, or I guess I think Dean implemented it, which handles this stuff. And then where is it? It's not called from that. Where is it called from? There it is, asset open. It's called from here, but you'll see that what happens is asset open turns that asset object, but this is a specific read-only asset stream. So it creates a special stream that kind of overrides everything and funnels everything through read asset, write asset, through the read write asset functions, basically. I need basically something similar, but instead of, it doesn't have to do that. It can forward everything to memory stream. But what it needs to do is block so that when the stream is disposed, that it doesn't actually destroy the memory stream, that the memory stream still exists, and that it can be reopened later. That's the trick. It also needs to obey the rules. Like if we said to open this for reading, it should say, hey, you can't write to this. So it needs to obey these rules properly. So I need an implementation of this in stream to make some of these tests work properly. That's cool. That's not a problem. That's working like that. That has to happen. So that is the next step, but we're close, getting closer. We almost have a implementation that we then have to test pretty heavily, because there's going to be a lot of things, I think, that are not going to work as expected, and we need to clean things up. But the good news is how we have it written. Come on, thing. Good news is the way that we have it written with a lot of things in a shared platform file. And that's what it needs to do. Like a lot of this stuff should probably be raised to the higher level. Some of it, at least. This shouldn't be, that shouldn't be, but I guess none of this should be actually. It's the stuff that I have up here that's actually the higher level, right? Yeah, this is the shared stuff. So this stuff is all shared across all the platforms. There's a custom file stream thing I need to do. This will be shared across all the platforms. So that's good. So the only thing that the platform has to implement is, clean up, and like it could be for some platforms, it's going to have plain C# code in here. iOS and Android will probably just have plain C# code in for this stuff, because it doesn't need, it doesn't have native code. But all the native platforms will go through this. But they can implement their own implementation for this stuff, however it makes sense for that platform. And commit will have to implement it, however it makes sense for that platform. I mean, we could share some of this stuff, maybe. Because I mean, this code is getting a little tricky. we just have to have like, this could be moved higher up instead of being a platform commit that knows how to commit for platform. It could be a just commit function that under the hood works with the cache and then calls platform delete directory, platform create directory, all that stuff, and then calls platform commit commit container, and it would handle the commits and everything else. Yeah, I don't know. I'll need to think about that a little bit more, like how far it should go for this. Yeah, but progress. So yeah, so we got some tests succeeding finally. Oh, wildcards aren't implemented, so that's why that's failing. Need to work on that. If I get a little, I think next time, so let's talk about next time. Stop sharing now, I think. I always hit the wrong button here trying to stop sharing. Stop, there we go. All right, so next time, I guess next time what we need to do is, we need to, I guess, implement this stream wrapper. I kind of want to get to the point where all the tests kind of run and work. And then I need to maybe reassess and move some stuff around a little bit, move some stuff higher up, share some more implementation. I probably need to go offline and make an implementation that works on like Switch, because it has some differences that might be useful to test. Probably should make an implementation that works on Xbox and make that function. Because then that gives me a good baseline as to whether this API works in multiple places. And then if I have Switch and Xbox implemented and Windows implemented, that's pretty good. At that point, I probably need either Dom's assistance or Dean or Simon's assistance to have somebody implement the Android or iOS implementations. Somebody needs to implement Mac and Linux, which can probably be shared. Their implementations can probably be shared. They're just going to use, PostX, calls instead of Win32 calls for stuff, which I could have used here too, but I prefer to use Win32 calls when I can because it's more to the metal on Windows at least. So yeah, that would be the next step, is getting some additional platforms implemented so we can really have this done. Because again, via our new milestones, our goal is to have all this stuff implemented by the end of next month. So end of September, this stuff should all be working and deployed and available to consoles, mobile, and desktop. So that is the plan. And it'll be the, I guess a preview release of it, because it still needs some hammering on, but it should finally give us a good storage container that works across all platforms. So yeah, all right. Well, thanks for hanging out, guys. As always, follow us on Twitch and YouTube. I don't think our numbers have changed very much since last time I checked. It's like last time we were just a couple users away on Twitch from hitting some goal. I forgot what the goal was, but somewhere there. Yeah, there was some goal that I needed to hit. What was it? Let's see. I don't know. I'm missing it. I can't see it now. But yeah, we're close to a goal there. YouTube, we're still growing our audience there. We should have been doing that for the last 10 years, but we didn't. So we're doing it now. And then, as always, MonoGame's always taking donations. We know it's hard out there, so we get that people can't do monetary donations at the moment. Things are tough. But if you can, that helps. If not, helping us just by reporting issues, using MonoGame and reporting issues that you run into, commenting on some of our issues. We should have that milestone document posted here soon, just in the next day or two. Simon's still working on some stuff there, I think. But once we get that milestone document up, you'll be able to link to the issue. There's a link to the issue in GitHub for this particular implementation, and we can add feedback there and get people's communication of ideas of how we should implement this or just thoughts on it. So yeah, that's another way to donate, is donate your time or your effort, into helping MonoGame be better. All right, guys. Well, have a good day. I will talk to you next week. Bye.